Hello. It is Wednesday. If you're on the West Coast, it is noon, and it's time for another Courier Live. Hi, I'm Adrian, and I'm joined once again by Riley, and I will let them introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Riley. I'm an engineer here at Courier, and I'm excited to be on stream again.
Woo! Yeah, because today we are going to.
We need like sound effects so you can have like an audience, like yay!
I know. I need one of those little things where I can hit the buttons with the buttons, so we get the audience and we get the weird foghorns and things like that.
And then I can tell a joke, and then I can make everybody laugh.
Yeah.
Like the first time ever.
Well, today we're going to do something a little bit fun. I've been playing with some IoT stuff, specifically a BlinkStick square. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make it so whenever you send a notification using Courier, it's going to interact with this device and change a light color, do something, and then maybe even play a sound. So we're going to walk through what it takes to hook that up, and we're going to utilize the Webhooks provider that's available for Courier.
What's a BlinkStick?
A BlinkStick. Good question. Okay, so I'm going to switch over because I have the website up.
Oh.
Yeah, so this is BlinkStick. This is the square. This is a little device. It comes, and you can hook it in using USB. It has LEDs. I'm trying to scroll on the wrong screen. That's great. But it's basically this little square chip, and it's got some LEDs on it, and you can hook it up. And then I went ahead and got the little enclosure for it. So I have another camera on my BlinkStick. So let's bring him in. Okay, so this is my little BlinkStick square. I don't know why they didn't call it a cube. I guess without the enclosure, it's just a square. But I have been working on some things to kind of hook it up to the internet. So it has to be connected to some kind of device. Right now it's my computer, maybe in the future, like a Raspberry Pi, something that is connected to the internet. But I created a little server, and it's currently hosted on Heroku. But it allows you to change the color of the light, turn it on and off via this website here. So I've sent this website to Riley, and just to prove that it is being set up remotely, Riley, why don't you go ahead and turn on the light, pick a color. Ooh. All right, so the light did come on. I didn't do anything. But I do have it set up to where the color she selected does get passed to the website. So doing a lot with WebSockets here. And the way that this is set up is I have a client running on my machine. It's a Node.js application. We'll look at that here soon. And it's connected to the server that's running in Heroku via WebSockets. And that server is just a Next.js application. So man, there's so many parts of this. Like where to go next? So what's happening is there is actually a route behind this that you can pass query strings to, and it will change the color. And so one of the things that we'll have to do is create a route that Courier can access, and it will accept the payload that Courier sends and emit something so the client knows how to do it. So that's kind of how we're going to go to start. Taking a look. Let's just start with our notification. So if we go, I'm going to use the Courier Live alert notification that we used whenever Tony was here. So this is just a regular email notification. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a channel. And we're going to add, it's down here somewhere, there, the Webhook channel. All right, and it just appears over here.
Did you have to configure the Webhook channel?
I did. So if you have not used the Webhook channel before, you can go into the integrations and you can just add it. But really, there's not a lot to it. I guess we should talk about this. There's two types of configurations for the Webhook. So you can have a dynamic destination or a non-dynamic destination, a standard destination. So basically, you can decide, do I want all the webhooks to go to the same endpoint, or do I want them to be dynamic, meaning that it's going to change based on the URL that we grab from the webhooks part of the user profile. And so for today, I want to do a dynamic one, because thinking like, what if, Riley had a piece of IoT, doesn't have to be the BlinkStick, but it's something that has a route that's set up that can consume Courier. So maybe she has like a Hue light bulb and she has a route connected to it. Then I could put in your profile the URL for your server. And so whenever it sends out, it knows to go there instead of mine, because you might not be connected to my server.
Yeah. I actually didn't know about the dynamic destination part, to be honest.
Yeah, the dynamic destinations are fairly new. I want to say within the last month, but like I guess we've been on quarantine for like 7 months, so I don't have a good concept of time.
Yeah, same.
So I'm gonna switch this back over.
Yeah, I knew it was static, so I was curious what the configuration you had put in for the webhook was, but I didn't know that there's dynamic. So does dynamic, is that when you hit our API, you have to tell us the URL and stuff like that in the request?
So you pass it in the profile. So you can either pass it with the send request, or and what we're going to do here in a minute is you can actually set that up in the recipient's profile. So in my profile, I'm going to say, here is my webhook address.
I see. Interesting. Cool.
Yeah. So really, there's not a lot that we need to do with this, because all it's going to be doing is passing a payload to our endpoint. But one thing I want to do is I want to go in here and I want to set the email to be always. So I want it to always send an email and then do the best of one or the other. So that way I can get an email and the webhook call.
So basically, like, you can get an email, but then your blinky lights can be blinking and it's like, oh, Courier Live is starting soon. Courier Live is starting soon.
Right. Yeah.
Idea? Oh,
I can do something like that, or just like a regular email.
That's
like
so cute.
notifier.
Yeah.
The BlinkStick is, of course, pretty limited. But if you think we're just sending a payload to an endpoint, and then from there, like to your heart's desire, like if you had a Raspberry Pi, whatever modules you wanted to buy and hook in, camera, things like that. Yeah, like you can make it do whatever. I think. Oh, are you playing? Or I think else is in there. It's pulsing now.
Yeah, I'm pushing buttons.
This is the fun of having this like live.
Woo!
Okay, so we have the notification set up, and so I'm pretty happy with that. Let's go and create, or actually, let's take a look at the docs. So if we go to the docs, to the integration guide, down here in the under integrations, we've got webhook integration. And this is going to tell you kind of all about what the webhook integration does, how to set it up, so the profile requirements. So in a minute, we'll update my profile with a webhook object, and we're going to give it a URL. The method defaults to post, so we'll do that, but we'll set all that up. There's information about authentication. So if your endpoint is authenticated, we can handle basic and bearer auth for passing along. And then we kind of give an idea of what the payload looks like. So it's going to basically send over pretty much everything that was sent to the send. So we've got the event, we've got the recipient, profile information, data, and whether or not you choose limited or expanded profile, it's either going to give you the merged profile. So if you have more information stored in Courier, it will merge that in, pull it over, or you can just say, maybe you don't really care about all the profile information, so you can just say, give me only what was passed over in the send call. Cool. All right. So with that information, I think we can go to our server here. So I have our client, our server, and then I've got some demo scripts. But to kind of walk through what's going on with the server, I'm using a Next.js application, but I'm creating a custom server that's being used, because one thing that this does is it creates that WebSocket server. So it makes it so you can accept WebSockets. So you can see down here in this prepare, we are starting up a Socket.io server, and then we're doing things whenever clients are connected. Right now, I'm just console logging the client ID, and then also logging out whenever it's disconnected. So it's not doing a lot of stuff right now, but what we're doing is we're putting this on the context item that's going to be available for any route.
And Socket.io for the Blinky Cube?
Yeah, so that's setting up the WebSockets so the client can talk to the server in real time. So whenever we do a broadcast, any client that's connected can listen and react to that.
I see.
Yeah, it's I could have done this by like just running the server on my local machine, but then I'd need to use something like ngrok to kind of tunnel out. And I want to be able to just like connect this thing to the server at any time and not have to worry about setting up that tunnel, and be able to do things. And also like WebSockets gives you the ability to like do some other cool like interactions. Yeah, and like eventually I'll host this on a glitch app so like other people can remix it and things like that, but then it's just kind of always out there running.
I see.
Yeah. So an example of a route that was created is this caller route. And so this is going to be, I forgot the URL, but I think it's blinkstick-server.herokuapp.com/API/caller. And so that's what the website that we were looking at is interacting with right now. And as part of Next.js, if you want to create these API routes, all you need to do inside the pages folder, add an API folder, and then add a JavaScript file. And the name of that JavaScript file is going to be the endpoint. So it's always going to be /API/ the name of the endpoint. So it's really easy to like spin up new like routes for this. And so just simply, we're exporting a request and a response, or we're exporting a function that takes a request and a response. We're checking to see if it's a GET. If it is, then we're going to pull a hex value and an op off of the query string. So the hex value is just the color. And then the op is what I use to make it pulse. And so like if you don't pass an op, it just sets the color. If you do pass it and it's pulse, then it uses a different function to actually make it like pulse, which is pretty cool.
And then does the BlinkStick have like specific things that it listens for, like color, or?
Yeah, so what we do is after we grab that information, I'm using the IO object or the IO instance from the context. So you can see request.context.io. I can use that to emit an event. So that kind of sends that out to all the WebSockets. And so I'm sending out a color event and I'm passing that hex and option, and then just returning a 200.
How does the BlinkStick know what to do with that though?
Yeah, so we've got the BlinkStick client that picks it up. So this is what runs for the client. This is basically just connecting to the server. So we are, instead of using socket.io server, what is that actually? Instead of just using socket.io, we're using socket.io client for this client. And we're connecting to the server. And then what we can do is we can listen for events. So the kind of basic ones are listening for connect and disconnect. But once we have a socket that's connected, we can listen for things like color. So whenever the server broadcasts color, we can pick it up as a connected client and then do things based on that. So you can see I'm listening for color, and I'm passing it a function that takes basically a data object that I've destructured into hex and op, and doing a console log because that's the way I do, and checking to see if the op is pulse. And if it is, I'm going to use a device.pulse Otherwise, I'm going to use the set color. So the BlinkStick square, or actually all of BlinkStick has different client libraries or SDKs for different languages. So there's one for Node, there's one for Python, there's some, I can't remember all the languages, but they have some that are like regular supported by BlinkStick, and then there's some community ones. I think Go is one of them, where the community has actually built the SDK for that. So it's really nice to just be able to do that. And so that's kind of basically how a route works. And so we're going to create one to grab the information from Courier.
Cool.
Yeah. So let's go back to this API folder. And we're going to add a new file. And I'm just going to call this courier.js. So this will create an endpoint that's the BlinkStick server.herokuapp.com or whatever /API/Courier. And so that's what we'll give. That's what we'll give Courier. And so we need to export. To do basically the same as this. So I'm going to copy. I'm just going to copy all of it and we'll change it. So we're going to export a default function, takes a request to response. This time we're going to say if the method equals post. And we know what the body is going to look like because we have the docs that told us. I'm not sure what we want off of that right now. So we definitely won't have a query string for this. We do want to be able to omit something and then send an OK, because like most places that send you webhooks, if you don't respond to them with an OK, they'll try again. So we want to make sure we do that. And then I'm going to leave this in here to respond with a 501 if we have not implemented the method. I think that's the right response code if you haven't. So if you try to do a get on this endpoint, it's in the 501. And I think that means that we haven't.
Method not allowed?
It's like method not allowed or not implemented. I did some looking up and.
Not implemented.
Not implemented. Yeah. Oh, it is.
There's also 405 method not allowed.
Ah.
So if the server does recognize a method, but intentionally does not support it, the appropriate response is 405.
I like that better because I didn't like using a 500 because that like 500s are usually internal stuff. But okay, so you said 405?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's change that. I'm going to change it over here too.
501 is the appropriate response when the server does not recognize the request method and is incapable of supporting it for any resource. The only methods that servers are required to support are get and head. So I think it's like if your server can't support a post or something like that, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, 405 is more like user-ish error versus hey, this is bad.
Yeah. All right. So for this, I think we'll start off by, so we need to omit something, and I think we'll just call it alert for right now. So we're going to use this IO instance, and we're going to emit alert. And let's, for right now, give it rec.body. So we're just passing everything that's being passed to us onto the client, and we can kind of decide what to do from there. I think this is good for now. Like we might, there might be something that we want to grab from the data and like emit a different kind of emit something different based on it. So like if maybe we had like urgency or something like that in the data, we might want to pull that out. And if it's urgent, emit urgent alert or something like that. We could also take care of that in the client, but like there's different ways we can split it out. And I think the easiest way to do it right now is just pass it everything. So I'm going to save that. So now we have a route that's on /API/Courier, and it's going to take the body and it's going to emit that as an alert to the client. Because this is hosted in Heroku, I'm going to go ahead and commit this as soon as I find the right terminal. Yeah. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
let's see. Oh, good. And if anybody wants to ask why I'm not using the GitHub tools inside VS Code, it's because this is how I learned, and it's hard for me to switch.
GitHub tools inside VS Code? You mean like a plugin that does all the fancy stuff for you?
It's like, here's all your stuff, and you can like put a message and.
Yeah, I'm not into that either. Like,
I just don't trust it. This is how the robots take over.
yeah, and also for me, like when I first started doing coding stuff, I was using Sublime, and then I went over to Atom, and
Yeah.
then like it just was just like I learned like bare bones, right? And then like I don't know, I don't like using like all these abstractions because it just prevents me from learning what's actually happening. And I feel like it's just doing you a disservice. At least that's my kind of perspective on it.
Yeah, like I had to learn like what all this stuff meant and go through it the hard way, and now it's just stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
What does -am on a commit mean?
It's all with message.
Oh, no way. Really? I can do that in one command, not two?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So, but the thing is, like, you have to make sure that like you intend to add everything. So it's not going to add untracked things. So you saw like I did the command to add the Courier pages. So like I did a status and I was like, oh, that's a new file, or I don't know, it's somewhere in here, and I had to do git add and add that, and then I could do am and then just give it a thing. But then I had to like make my window bigger because I sign my commits, and if the window isn't big enough for the commit signing password thing to come in, it like fails.
Interesting. I don't know anything about commit signing.
There's probably better ways to do it, but I'm used to this now. Like,
Yeah.
Sure. So I'm gonna git push origin main. Right. And so what that's going to do is it's going to push that up to my repo, and it's going to kick off a build. But in the meantime, we can go over and update our profile. So in my live demos, in my profile, I have a little script set up to where I can update my profile. So I already have a profile at Adrian10036. We've used it many, many times before. But what I want to do is do a merge profile so I can add this webhook object. And all I'm going to do is add the URL because we default a lot of values. So method is defaulted to post. And so I'm just going to leave that alone. And the only thing, and I'm not using authentication, and that gets defaulted to none. So the only thing I really need to give it at this point is a URL. And I believe that is the right URL. Let me go over here just to double check. BlinkStick server HerokuApp.com. Okay.
Nobody else took BlinkStick server at Heroku.
Apparently, I'm the only one creating BlinkStick server on Heroku. Hey, how about it? So I'm going to go over to yet another terminal. The webhooks one, and so I'm just going to run node profile. So that was a success. I should have like wrote the script to like actually get it so you can see it come back. Let me do Insomnia real quick. Of course, I opened it in the wrong window.
Oh, it turned green. How did you do that?
So what happens is whenever it connects, it pulses green, so I know it. But whenever it does a deploy, it disconnects and reconnects, and so it has to like reconnect.
I'm still upset that your avocado doesn't have a name.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not good at giving things names. Like I gave my dog a name, and then that was like that was all the creativity I had. Okay, so that my recipient ID is fine. This is a git on the profiles. That doesn't seem good.
Why are you expecting the webhook stuff to be there?
Did I not? Yeah, I was expecting the webhook stuff to be there.
Did the node profile, is that the server? Is that what it did? Recipient ID. Wait, what was the script that you were hitting Courier?
Let's see. So
Courier that merge profile,
yeah,
recipient ID.
right. It's the same recipient ID. That's what Adrian 10036 base URL.
Is it base URL production?
Mm-hmm.
I guess you don't have a use case for that.
Like, that's the only one I use. I do everything in production.
Yeah.
Living dangerously. I don't know why I thought that would. Okay, so passing it so merge profile, we're giving it a profile, the recipient ID. I mean, it said it was a success. Okay, let me.
Can we look at let me look over here at the thing. But does it pull off that recipient ID inside a profile and put it in the URL?
It does. So actually, let's go.
No, recipient ID is outside of profile.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. All right. Maybe like now I'm worried that my docs are wrong.
Well, the Courier node has it outside of it.
It does?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
I thought it was weird that you had the recipient ID inside of it.
Oh, okay.
But it's also interesting that we gave a success for that. So,
you know what? I probably created a new one somewhere. All right, so let's move this outside of profile.
yeah, because I was like, it's just weird to have it inside the profile.
All right. Well, it's a good thing we checked. All right, so that's a success. Let's go back over here. And I'm going to run this again. Hey, yeah. All right, so there's our webhook ID. Sweet.
I feel like you put little bugs in here just to like have like people like us catch.
Well, the part of the thing I like about coding live is you make mistakes, but then also people get to see how you fix the mistakes. I think learning how to debug is one of the best parts of it. So if things go like swimmingly, like where's the fun in that? You got to see people sweat. All right. So now let's go down to our client, and we need to create a listener for this alert event. And so I'm just going to say, I'm going to do socket.on. We're going to listen for alert. And
so does it use the USB to connect to the internet? Is that how that works?
So it uses the USB. So that's all wrapped up in the BlinkStick API or the BlinkStick SDK. It uses libUSB. So if you're using Mac, you have to install libUSB. And it connects to the USB on my computer currently. And that SDK interacts with that. And then it uses sockets to connect to the internet.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, because it doesn't have like Wi-Fi on board. Like a lot of IoT devices will have that, and so you're just like fix that. But because this one doesn't, eventually I want to do something with like a Raspberry Pi, and it's like all self.
And that has a Wi-Fi adapter inside of it.
Yeah. So it would be able to connect to everything like itself. Like I gotta have it sitting here, not connected to my computer. This light is very dependent on my computer being on, which is not as fun. Like it'd be fun to have like something in the living room. So like, let's say Troy sent me a message and like I have a little light on the TV come up. Like, oh, I should go check that. I'm gonna pause whatever cartoon I'm watching now and go check my email or run to the
good new cartoons you've been watching lately.
Oh my gosh, I've seen so many. I don't know if you're a fan of Phineas and Ferb. It's a really great cartoon, but they just came out with a new movie. Why? Because there's a fan base, and that fan base has money for subscriptions now. But it was very good, and like I think the creator is just like a gem. Like I love watching his TikTok.
I saw Solar Opposites. That was a pretty good one.
Solar Opposites.
It's like by the Rick and Morty guy.
Oh yeah, I did watch all of that. I think that one came out earlier in the summer, and so I just like go through them. I just go through them all. That's all I do. Infinity Train. If you have HBO Max, I recommend that.
Okay. I guess I'm just scoping out new things to keep me busy.
Right? That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need to give it a function. I'm just going to pass it data because we're giving it that whole big blob. Like I do, I'm going to do a console log of all of the data, just so we can see that come out. And what do we want this to do whenever this alert comes? So we definitely want to turn on the light. One thing that I have put together is we can have it do a morph rainbow. And I went ahead and like wrote this out because this SDK uses like callback hell. So you have like a rainbow waterfall here.
We could do that, or we could install a text to Morse code library and have it blink Morse code for you.
You know what? That might be a feature request.
Because you know how easy it is to just like see something blinking and understand what it is in Morse code.
Oh yeah, like I learned. Didn't you learn Morse code in like kindergarten? It's fine. So I'm just gonna copy this. So let's make it.
So what is it? Is it like a rainbow? A rainbow?
Yeah. So it's gonna start. It's gonna start at red, and it's just going to morph through and then turn off.
Roy G. Biv.
Basically, what I was doing whenever I wrote this out, I was like, okay, Roy, ROY.
Where's Indigo?
I didn't do. I don't know if it does Indigo. So part of what the BlinkStick library does is it has names for colors, so you can use the color name instead of the hex, because like I don't know what the hexes are for all of these, but they know what yellow means. They know what green means, and so that's something that's very nice. And then so that changes the color, but let's do something fun, and hopefully you can hear it through my speakers. We can play a sound.
What?
Yeah, well, because this is just a client running on my machine, it's going to play an MP3 through my speakers. So it's not going to play it through the cube, but I'm taking advantage of the fact that like the cube has to be hooked up to my machine that it has speakers.
I see. So Blinky is not going to play it. Your computer is.
Right. It's not gonna like blink out the to the beat.
I didn't know there's a speaker on the Blink Cube.
Oh no, there's not. But if you use play-sound, so npm install play-sound or yarn add play-sound, it will use whatever media device is on your computer. I can't like it's certain ones for the different operating systems.
Oh, interesting.
But it works. I was playing it before. I actually had it set up so you see this commented out code. Every time it would connect to the server, it would play this Roadrunner sound that I found somewhere, and it kind of sounds like a monkey. But that's when I figured out that like it would just randomly restart, and I think what was happening was like my Heroku instance would like shut down, but then my client would be like, "Hey, I need to connect to you," and so it would wake it back up, and then it would connect and it would play the sound. And then a little later, it would do the same thing over again. And I was like, okay, we need to stop this. I can't just have Roadrunner sound. And when I got Roadrunner, I thought it was like meep meep, like a Roadrunner. Growing up watching Looney Tunes, that's what I thought a Roadrunner sounded like. But no, it sounds kind of like a monkey.
Oh, okay.
Right. Okay, so we're gonna have it morph through all of this, and then we'll have it play a sound. But I got a very special sound. And that is stored inside media folder. You've got mail. So for those of you familiar with the ancient ways of AOL, I typed AOL instead of what I'm supposed to type.
Oh my god.
Okay. Whew. So we've got the client. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to log the data. We're going to cycle through the rainbow, and we're going to play a sound. And this is all going to be kicked off whenever we send a message. But we need to restart the client. So you're going to see it pulse green.
So is it going to pulse at the same time of playing the sound, or is it going to pulse after it's done rainbow?
So I'm hoping it will do it at the same time, because this is a bunch of callbacks. So it's going to run this and then go and play the sound.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to do at the same time.
Yeah, I think so too. I was just curious what you're going for.
Yeah, because I didn't do like Paul. Like I could put it after it turns off the light, or I could do it on the first one. We'll see how this goes. Like, I looked to see if I could like turn this into like async await somehow. Like, I did not get that far. I wish I had it.
There's a node comes with promisify.
So that works if you have node style callbacks. So where the first in the function, the first argument is the error and the second is the data. This one, the callback has no arguments.
So it might not work.
Yeah, so I didn't go down that line. Yeah. So now let's see if this works. So we have, oh my gosh, I just realized I forgot to do something, and you're usually the one that catches me doing it.
What do you do?
I got to go back to Courier.
Publish
my changes. We were almost in that situation where I'm like, why didn't it work? Okay, so we'll go back over here. So we're connected to the server on the client. The server has been deployed to Heroku. So the endpoint should be there. We have the profile updated, so Courier knows which endpoint to hit. So we can just go over into my scripts here. And this is the script that's going to send the notification, or yeah, send the notification, the message. And I'm going to go to the right terminal, which is that one. I'm going to run node index. It's like a lot of times I call it send. Okay, so hopefully this will make the light do something.
You've got mail.
Nice.
Oh,
nice.
I do have mail. Okay, so let's go and take a look. It's this one. Check my inbox. All right, come check us out on Courier Live. Courier Live, controlling IoT using the Webhook provider. Hey, Adrian. All right, so we've got the message, and we and it said stuff. Like,
you know what else you can do now is we released this fancy new send tab. You could actually send the notification without having to write a little script, just like a one-off notification.
Oh, will it? And it would activate the webhook.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do that. I want to show off this new fancy new send tab. Okay, so before we could use the preview, and we could see what it would look like. And I'll change this. I don't know. Change this and change it back.
Yeah.
And so like, oh, look, it looks like this. But now we've added where you can actually send from, you can send from the app. And so I guess I don't have to like write these scripts anymore.
Yeah. Yes. If you have one off. So basically you see here the data. Is that data appropriate? Same data that you have in your script?
Yeah, I believe it is. Oh, darn it. I hit the wrong button. Okay. Go back to
basically it's going to be your test event.
Oh, and we see that through preview, right? Or
yeah.
Oh,
so use it. So test event down there. Yep.
So this is the one with Tony. It's fine. It's the last one, but we can still send it. It will show that it's a different email, basically. And so for the notification ID, I'm going to choose Courier Live Event. For the recipient ID, that is Adrian. Yeah, I was like, did I put a dash? I don't remember. And so I'm going to do this recipient ID. I don't need all that. The given name's fine. So there's the data. We're going to console out log that. The brand is, I have a default brand on this notification, so I don't need to set that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and so now I hit send.
Yeah.
You've got mail.
Cool.
Oh, wow! I didn't even need that script. And we're cycling through the rainbow.
Yeah, so this is a really good way to test sending it before you have a script written, or maybe if you don't really know how to write a script and you just want to kind of test it working, because like the preview tab will send it, but as you can see, like you can't test the webhook provider that way. You can't test a lot of different things. You can basically preview how it looks, but if you actually want to send it through your API key and everything like that, you can use our new send tab.
Yeah, and I appreciate I appreciate you starring out my API key, so we didn't just show that out.
Yeah, I literally deployed that.
But basically, it was the same as what I wrote in the
So
script.
thank you, Seth, for reminding me to start out the API key.
Everybody knows I'm so worried about.
Well, that I didn't anticipate suggesting to use a send tab until literally I'm like, how is he going to send this? Does he have a script? He could use a send tab.
I have scripts for everything. But what's cool is like you can also pull out, like if you just wanted to run it in curl, like you could switch it to that. And I believe in processes we're updating these other tabs to use or it might already be out there. So if you needed to send it using Go, that uses this uses just standard stuff.
Yeah, we'll update it to actually use our libraries. That's on my plate to update. But we also do have a link to the libraries now, which is pretty cool. So if you click on curl,
nice.
You can jump over to it. So
very nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. I think we should quit while we're ahead. But we end to end did the thing. If you haven't watched Legend of Korra, it is now on not Netscape. What year is this? Netflix. Legend of Korra is on there, and there's the guy who always says, "Julie, do the thing." That's what that reminded me of. But we were able to hit a webhook using a Courier notification, and just because it's something I always like to do, let's take a look at the logs. We always got to look at the logs. The logs are the best. So you see, this is the one that came in that I hit with my script. So we got the event. Here's Riley. Here's me. We've mapped the event. So this was already mapped from an earlier episode of Courier Live. So we didn't have to worry about that. We loaded my profile. You can see it brought in the webhook. We got a rendered version of the email, which is cool. Oh, this is neat. I've actually not looked at the logs.
Yeah, I'm curious what that's gonna look like.
That's wonderful. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I always wondered what a rendered webhook would look like, and it's a blank line. I was going to be shocked thinking that like it was something like crazy. Who knows? And so we've got so that's interesting. We've got the response from the server. The server.
Okay, yeah.
Cowboy. 200 okay, yeah, but I didn't realize that all these headers were being sent.
That must have been where it came back from Heroku.
Yeah. Oh, do you think Heroku put those in there? Also, it could be something about like the Next.js that I just didn't know was happening.
Yeah, it could be.
Information coming back from SendGrid, and then the fact that we opened it, which is great. We got an open event. Awesome. Well, again, we did the thing. We made it light up. There's lots of things that we could do for this. Thanks, Danny. There's lots of things that we.
What did Danny say?
He's laughing at me saying Netscape. Yeah. Some things just get burned into your mind. But we hit the endpoint. We made it light up. We made it say "You got mail." And then we learned about the new feature that Riley helped put out, which is the send tab, which I think is really cool. So thanks for joining us. You can look for a blog post talking about all of this stuff and with the recording next week. But until then, I am on the wrong thing. Let me switch back over to here. We'll say goodbye to the BlinkStick square. But say goodbye.
Say goodbye.